Your interrogation confirmed. Your version of the truth is all that matters.
Truth is singular. Its versions are mistruths.
Hello, late nighters. We're here again. Yay! Let's see if we've got anybody in the chat. Hello, what is it? I hate this black screen. Jornich, how are you? What topic? This sunrise, Michelle. Nice intro, by the way. Yeah, I tried to play the intro so it gives people time to come on in and, get their notifications. I don't know if people are getting their notifications like they're supposed to be, stuff like that. And then, so then we can get started because of this treasure trove of information, which confirms so much of what we've been talking about all this time. It's just it's flooring me, and I just want to share with you. Also, the link is always in the description box if you want to move ahead and look into more of it and continue on and get ahead of me. But I'm also putting videos together on Chute with, like, if they're broken into two sections or whatnot, then I put them together. So we're going to talk about the universal law, which is also known as the law of one, realms, frequencies, shifting, and ascension. But first, I'm going to play this awesome clip for you. So, and this is the second part of 17. The first part left off, it was talking about Christ, how wonderful Christ is. And then this is going to pick up like right after that and just start speaking into it. You'll see that if you go to his page, it hasn't had any activity in 7 years. So it's been a while since this information has resurfaced. But the information is from 1981. But it's so deep and it's so profound and it's so full of wisdom that it's beyond comprehension. And it's the same things that so many of us are talking about. I was actually listening to James Gilliland, sorry, Gilliland earlier. Well, I say earlier, I didn't wake up until 11 o'clock this evening from a long nap. I get in these long naps, and so I'm full of energy at night, which brings in a nice quaint group to share. But he was talking about the same things, but everybody has their different terminologies and their different ways of talking about it. But once you can see through all that stuff, then you're able to comprehend and stay with them, because they're talking about the same things that we're talking about, that you're talking about. It's just different words used for the same concept. So let me share this clip with you, and then I want to discuss it, because it's so profound, it's so wonderful. It does not take away from the divinity of Christ. It doesn't take anything away. If anything, it confirms the divinity of Christ and how we each have it residing within us. And if you truly follow Christ and Christ's teachings, you will find your way through what we're going through here. But we'll talk more about that in just a minute. Let me pull up Let's get me out of the way. And you know I like my TV. Pull my TV up. And let's get to it. Let's get to this share. Enjoy.
Answer, I am Ra. This entity learned the ability by a natural kind of remembering at a very young age. Unfortunately, this entity first discovered his ability to penetrate intelligent infinity by becoming the distortion you call angry at a playmate. This entity was touched by the entity known as Jesus and was fatally wounded. Thus the one known as Jesus became aware that there dwelt in him a terrible potential. This entity determined to discover how to use this energy for the good, not for the negative. This entity was extremely positively polarized and remembered more than most wanderers do. Question 17.20. Questioner, how did this aggressive action against the playmate affect Jesus in his spiritual growth? Where did he go after his physical death? Answer, I am Ra. The entity you call Jesus was galvanized by this experience and began a lifetime of seeking and searching. This entity studied first day and night in its own religious constructs which you call Judaism and was learned enough to be a rabbi, as you call teach learners of this particular rhythm or distortion of understanding, at a very young age. At the age of approximately 13½ of your years, this entity left the dwelling place of its earthly family, as you would call it, and walked into many other places seeking further information. This went on sporadically until the entity was approximately 25, at which time it returned to its family dwelling and learned and practiced the art of its earthly father. When the entity had become able to integrate or synthesize all experiences, the entity began to speak to other selves and learn what it had felt during the preceding years to be of a worthwhile nature. The entity was absolved karmically of the destruction of another self when it was in the last portion of lifetime and spoke upon what you would call a cross, saying, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. In forgiveness lies the stoppage of the wheel of action, or what you call karma. Question 17.21. Questioner, what density is the entity known as Jesus in now? Answer, I am Ra. This information is harmless though unimportant. This entity studies now the lessons of the wisdom vibration, the fifth density, also called the light vibration. Question 17.22. Questioner, in our culture there is a saying that he will return. Can you tell me if this is planned? Answer, I am Ra. I will attempt to sort out this question. It is difficult. This entity became aware that it was not an entity of itself, but operated as a messenger of the one Creator whom this entity saw as love. This entity was aware that this cycle was in its last portion and spoke to the effect that those of its consciousness would return at the harvest. The particular mind, body, spirit complex you call Jesus is, as what you would call an entity, not to return except as a member of the Confederation speaking through a channel. However, there are others of the identical congruency of consciousness that will welcome those to the fourth density. This is the meaning of the returning. Question 17.23. Questioner, can you tell me why you say that the Earth will be fourth density positive instead of fourth density negative, since there seems to be the much negativity here now? Answer, I am Ra. The Earth seems to be negative. That is due to the quiet, shall we say, horror, which is the common distortion which those good or positively oriented entities have towards the occurrences which are of your time-space present. However, those oriented and harvestable in the ways of service to others greatly outnumber those whose orientation towards service to self has become that of harvestable quality. Question 17.24. Questioner, in other words, there will be fewer negative entities than positive entities harvested into the fourth density. Is this correct? Answer, I am Ra. This is correct. The great majority of your peoples will repeat third density. Question 17.25. Questioner, how did Taras Bulba, Genghis Khan, and Rasputin get harvested prior to the harvest? Answer, I am Ra. It is the right privileged duty of those opening consciously the gate to intelligent infinity to choose the manner of their leaving of third density. Those of negative orientation who so achieve this right duty most often choose to move forward in their learned teaching of service to self. Question 17.26. Questioner, is this the reason for what we call spontaneous combustion of human beings? Answer, I am Ra. This is not correct. Question 17.27. Questioner, can you tell me what causes that phenomenon? Answer, I am Ra. Picture, if you will, a forest. One tree is struck by lightning. It burns. Lightning does not strike elsewhere. Elsewhere does not burn. There are random occurrences which do not have to do with the entity, but with the window phenomenon of which we spoke. Question 17.28. Questioner, are these entities uniquely the same, or are they random entities? Answer, I am Ra. The latter is correct. Question 17.29. Questioner, am I to understand that the harvest is to occur in the year 2011, or will it be spread out? Answer, I am Ra. This is an approximation. We have stated we have difficulty with your time-space. This is an appropriate probable possible time-space nexus for harvest. Those who are not in incarnation at this time will be included in the harvest. Question 17.30. Questioner, if an entity wants to be of service to others rather than service to self while he is in this third density, are there best ways of being of service to others, or is any way just as good as any other way? Answer, I am Ra. The best way to be of service to others has been explicitly covered in previous material. We will iterate briefly. The best way of service to others is the constant attempt to seek to share the love of the Creator as it is known to the inner self. This involves self-knowledge and the ability to open the self to the other self without hesitation. This involves, shall we say, radiating that which is the essence or the heart of the mind, body, spirit complex. Speaking to the intention of your question, the best way for each seeker in third density to be of service to others is unique to that mind, body, spirit complex. This means that the mind, body, spirit complex must then seek within itself the intelligence of its own discernment as to the way it may best serve other selves. This will be different for each. There is no best. There is no generalization. Nothing is known. Question 17.31. Questioner, I don't wish to take up extra time asking questions over again. Some areas I consider important enough in relation to the law of one to ask questions in a different way in order to get another perspective in the answer. In the book OWASP it states that if an entity goes over 51% service to others and is less than 50% service to self, then that entity is harvestable. Is this correct? Answer, I am Ra. This is correct if the harvesting is to be for the positive fourth dimensional level. Question 17.32. Questioner, what is to be the entity's percentage if he is to be harvested for the negative? Answer, I am Ra. The entity who wishes to pursue the path of service to self must attain a grade of 5, that is 5% service to others, 95% service to self. It must approach totality. The negative path is quite difficult to attain harvestability upon and requires great dedication. Question 17.33. Questioner, why is the negative path so much more difficult to attain harvestability upon than the positive? Answer, I am Ra. This is due to a distortion of the law of one which indicates that the gateway to intelligent infinity be a gateway at the end of a straight and narrow path, as you may call it. To attain 51% dedication to the welfare of other selves is as difficult as obtaining a grade of 5% dedication to other selves. The, shall we say, sinkhole of indifference is between those two. Question 17.34. Questioner, then if an entity is harvested into the fourth density with a grade of 51% for others and 49% for self, what level of the fourth density would he go into? I am assuming that there are different levels of the fourth density. Answer, I am Ra. This is correct. Each enters that subdensity which vibrates in accordance with the entity's understanding. Question 17.35. Questioner, how many levels do we have here in the third density at this time? Answer, I am Ra. The third density has an infinite number of levels. Question 17.36. Questioner, I've heard that there are 7 astral and 7 Duchanic levels. Is this correct? Answer, I am Ra. You speak of some of the more large distinctions in levels in your inner planes. That is correct. Question 17.37. Questioner, who inhabits the astral and Duchanic planes? Answer, I am Ra. Entities inhabit the various planes due to their vibration nature. The astral plane varies from thought forms in the lower extremities to enlightened beings who become dedicated to teach learning in the higher astral planes. In the Duchanic planes, as you call them, are those whose vibrations are even more close to the primal distortions of love light. Beyond these planes there are others. Question 17.38. Questioner, are there 7 subplanes to what we call our physical plane here? Answer, I am Ra. You are correct. This is difficult to understand. They are an infinite number of planes. In your particular space-time continuum distortion there are 7 subplanes of mind, body, spirit complexes. You will discover the vibrational nature of these 7 planes as you pass through your experiential distortions, meeting other selves of the various levels which correspond to the energy influx centers of the physical vehicle. The invisible, or inner, third density planes are uninhabited by those who are not of body complex nature such as yours, that is, they do not collect about their spirit-mind complexes a chemical body. Nevertheless, these entities are divided in what you may call an artificial dream within a dream into various levels. In the upper levels, desire to communicate knowledge back down to the outer planes of existence becomes less, due to the intensive learned teaching which occurs upon these levels. Question 17.39. Questioner, is it necessary to penetrate one level at a time as we move through these planes? Answer, I am Ra. It has been our experience that some penetrate several planes at one time. Others penetrate them slowly. Some in eagerness attempt to penetrate the higher planes before penetrating the energies of the so-called more fundamental planes. This causes energy imbalance. You will find ill health, as you call this distortion, to frequently be the result of a subtle mismatch of energies in which some of the higher energy levels are being activated by the conscious attempts of the entity while the entity has not penetrated the lower energy centers or subdensities of this density. Question 17.40. Questioner, is there a best way to meditate? Answer, I am Ra. No. Question 17.41. Questioner, at this time, near the end of the cycle, how are reincarnations into the physical allocated, shall we say, on this planet? Answer, I am Ra. Entities wishing to obtain critically needed experience in order to become harvestable are incarnated with priority over those who will, without too much probable possible doubt, need to re-experience this density. Question 17.42. Questioner, how long has this type of allocation been going on? Answer, I am Ra. This has been going on since the first individual entity became conscious of its need to learn the lessons of this density. This was the beginning of what you may call a seniority by vibration. Question 17.43. Questioner, can you explain what you mean by a seniority by vibration? Answer, I am Ra. This will be the final question of this session of working. The seniority by vibration is the preferential treatment, shall we say, which follows the ways of the law of one, which encourages harvestable individuals, each individual becoming aware of the time of harvest and the need on a self-level to bend mind, body, spirit towards the learned teaching of these lessons, by giving them priority in order that an entity may have the best possible chance, shall we say, in succeeding in this attempt. May we ask at this time if there are any brief questions? Question 17.44. Questioner, my only question is, what can we do to make the instrument more comfortable? Answer, I am Ra. This instrument is not wearing the appropriate apparel for this work. As inpourings occur in the regions of the, what you may call, 7th chakra as you speak of these energy centers, filtering through the 6th and so forth, the entity's other or base chakras become somewhat de-energized. Thus, this entity should be more careful in its selection of warm apparel for the part of the body complex you call the feet. May we answer any other brief questions? Question 17.45. Questioner, then we want to put heavier clothing on the feet. Is this correct? Answer, I am Ra. This is correct. I will leave this instrument now. I leave you in the love and the light of the one infinite creator, Adonai.
Okay, let me get rid of this TV. And bring me back. Hello. Okay, back to where I can see the chat. It kind of breaks my heart to watch the chat numbers go down when something so important as this is being shared. And, you know, it's all in balance, and it's 51% in service to others, and you will ascend. You will move into the fourth density. Now, talked about Christ being a fifth density being, so but he had to step down to becoming a fourth density being in the 3D realm. And so he volunteered to come in and to teach the truth to everybody. So, you know, people would understand and understand who they truly are. And just like we was talking about with meditation, is there a right way? No. Each of us will have our own ways of meditating and connecting. And that's how unique that each of us are. It also talks about, you know, other things that we've talked about, which is, you know, we're all drops in that ocean. But if you're surrounded by drops that are going to bring you down or no longer serve you, then it could cause doubt within you. Or, you know, this goes for information they're putting out or anything. If it's not unconditional love and unconditional forgiveness and lifting each other up, well, it's time to walk away. That's why I find that this information is so important. Now, I know it says that I am Ra a lot, but when you're, if it wasn't in there, all that is something that the person that made the videos for, or put the information out into the sections, they put it out so people could see who is saying what. So it's not like every time the questioner asked a question, he said, I am Ra. No, it's just there so it can show you who is saying what, you know, whether it's coming from the person asking the questions or if it is coming from the being that is giving the information. So I saw somebody said, I am Ra, and I thought that kind of made me laugh a little bit, because we all are, as we are all Christ. We are all in Christ. We are all one. We're all in this oneness, and it is a very profound understanding and understanding to know that we have the oneness within us. And then it's a matter of the sovereignty and free will, whether or not you'll be in service to others or service to self. Now, it talks about the harvest and the separation, and, you know, I wonder if when the Mandela effect happened, if there was some form of a separation at that point. I think we're constantly being separated because some people will see some things going on in the world, while others will not be affected, impacted, nor will they see it. So I do think that the internet and introducing the D-Wave, the quantum computer, helps us reach across realms so we can still stay in interaction with one another. The best thing and the best experiences are when we can all meet up together in the same place. But we could be standing right next to somebody and we could think they're an NPC, but actually their consciousness is more active in another realm. So, but it also talked about, you know, the negative having 5% service to others and 95% service to self. That they'll go into a fourth density realm, but it's not one we want to partake in. You know, it matters where your heart is. Where is your heart? You know, you choose. You're sovereign. You're a beautiful divine being having an experience here. And we're here, like I said, I call it Earth School. We're here to ascend, grow, discover these beautiful realms, and move along. And it said in this portion of the 106 part series that Christ left at 13 and went and adventured along. Now, books have surfaced that have talked about this very thing, but they called him Esau, and he went down into the eastern areas, and he learned all about all the different faiths and was able to glean the truth out of each of them, and then walk in the purity, and was able to do absolutely amazing things. And just like when they thought the little girl had died, and they were all weeping and mourning outside and crying, and he told him to quiet the people, she's just sleeping. Well, we say when we bury people, rest in peace. Well, while they're resting, they're going and going through the process of, are they going to have to repeat and come back, or are they going to move on? So these are just things to think about as we expand in our wisdom and expand in our knowledge on what is service to self and what is service to others. And be balanced with it. Don't be so knocked off balance, and which is something I personally have to work on. I love to give and I love to help, but I get to a point where I have nothing else to offer. So that makes me a little off balance when it only needs to be 51% and 49%. So there's a nice gauging scale there, because we do need to take care of ourselves, just like we talked about last night. You don't run in front of the traffic on the freeway. If you're truly thinking about how that will, impact others, if, you were to actually get hit or something happened to you, how badly that would hurt all of the loved ones. That would be a pretty selfish act, to take your life and get out of here because you don't like the way that your life is going. Just like it on the earlier post I shared with you, where it was a psychiatrist and scientist who did scientific experiment and found out that reincarnation happened, and that children were having memories of experiences that they had not had, and through facial recognition and through skin puckers and birthmarks, and also disabilities that these children would have, it would tie into the other person who had passed away with illnesses, afflictions, or things that happened to them in their life. So, with that scientific experiment done, I mean, it was just astounding what his findings were on that. That was from the earlier post that I shared, and it's just an understanding that once it's there, it's going to resonate, it's going to permeate, and it's going to take root, and it's going to grow. So, like I said, I have put the link to the channel that it hasn't posted anything in 7 years, but all of these are on there. And I hope they stay up, because they are just so profound and so beautiful. And, they call it, the law of one. Well, that's something today we call universal law. Just because we've changed the name to universal law doesn't negate the fact that the law of one and universal law are actually one and the same. So, you guys have any questions? Okay, water purifies oil in the soil, be in the land, we grow and thrive upon. Okay, quiet my soul in the soil, and try to spoil it, burn my body, ascend my bones, hold me, hold or behold me. Actually, that's pretty beautiful. Quiet my soul in the soil, try and spoil it, burn my body, ascend my bones, hold or behold me. Nice, Voynich. That's really beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. So, there's a ton of information there, and what's interesting and profound is after I had that experience, that these are the things that my husband and I have been talking about that have come up, over the last, it first started in 2001, and then a swift kick in the butt in 2012. And if you're trying to push yourself too hard to go along, you may manifest illnesses and things like that by trying to skip steps. And that's what a lot of people talk about with Ascension symptoms, where they're feeling sick and things like that. It's a refinement process that we go through. We don't really want to rush it, because then we want it to land on the good soil, so that way it will permeate and grow within us. And as it's growing within us, we walk in it. And as we're walking in it, it becomes our life changes. We are completely, the old man is gone and the new man is here, and you walk in it, and it's a beautiful thing. It's absolutely gorgeous. And a lot of people can help by catalyst into getting you going, but again, it's still up to you in order to take hold and let it take root in you. You're still a sovereign being. You can accept or reject anything. So I was raised under doctrines, but I'm going to tell you that in the Bible there's truth. It's just a matter of understanding and understanding what's actually going on there, and taking out the fillers, taking out the confusion, and just reading it purely with what resonates inside your heart. You'll feel it. You'll feel it. And if you don't get that feeling within your heart when you're reading it, well, it was probably put in there to become a control type mechanism to try to put us into submission. Realize that we do not fight with flesh and blood. It is principalities in high places. There was an incursion. That's talked about in Scripture also. And that battle is still going on. But to balance things out, when they saw that nobody was coming out, then we've had volunteers come in that are helping to raise people up. It's like reaching down into the pit and pulling us up, so that way we can get the understanding, and let it permeate within us, so we can be here for what this realm is meant to be, to expand, learn, grow, and then move on. We're infinite beings. It's not like we're going to be, in this realm forever. There's so much more to this than we will ever understand while we're here stuck in a 3D paradox. We need to get out of that service to self, get into serving others, be in balance, and move on. There's always more going on. There's different realms, different dimensions. They're called several different things. And I know this is my last go around. And right now I'm just waiting out somebody. And, so if I'm gone, I'm gone. I mean, my work here is done. But in the meantime, if I can throw out a rope for somebody and they grab it, that's great. Even if it's just one person gets the understanding with them, then that will please me to no end, that just even if one person gets it. Because everything is so distorted and so convoluted, and there's so many different ways to manipulate us and oppress us. You can have dreams and visions that come true, But then you're given a dream that is so out there and so dark. So then there you are thinking that that's going to come true too, but you were actually influenced by the other, because the further you go along, the more that will appear to happen to you to try to pull you back in. I hope you understand that. So if it seems like everything's starting to fall apart, well, that's because you're on your way and evolving. So they want to keep you into submission, into you creating what they want to create. They want the hierarchy. They don't want us to acknowledge the equality that we all carry within us. So, hi, Raleigh. Yeah, I know she did. Aww. But yeah, didn't she get a new pet? Hi, Brenda. Hi, Quartz Quantum. Yeah, I miss you too, Raul. Where have you been? I've been super busy, and I've been doing these late night lives to see, I want to see if people are getting notifications or what's going on, and, So I've been pretty busy with doing that. Also, I may pop over to DLive after we're done streaming here and take phone calls and things like that on DLive, now that I figured that out, and the links are in the description box, so you can join over there. Hi, my Skies 5D. I keep wanting to just say your name. Because I met him in person, and it's changed the dynamics of our relationship. And he'll tell you, by meeting people in person, it literally changes the dynamic of the relationship. So that energetic exchange where you resonate, and it's you know that you're brothers and sisters. You just know it. Hi, Brenda. Yeah, Boy's been here the whole time, I think. I don't know. I know that those clips, they run about between 11 and 15 minutes. But I feel like I would be doing you a disservice if I cut them short in any way. So, I don't want to do that. I want to make sure that people, even if they watch it on a playback, that they get the entire segment. Even though this is just half, but if they look at the previous live stream, they'll get the first half. And this one mainly dealt with Christ and, what he did, what he taught, and how, he had this profound understanding and knowing that we all, each and every one of us, come from the Creator. There isn't a separation in that regard. The only separation that we have is in the distortion. It's in how you choose, because we have sovereignty and freedom here. How do you choose to spend your time? Do you choose to spend your time sharing and showing people things? Sharing doesn't always mean monetary. Sharing means that you give gifts from your heart, that, because even if it's a created thing with your hands, or if it is videos to share information, wisdom, and knowledge, or sky images that are phenomena in themselves. I watched a gentleman earlier, and his house is full of orbs, but the orbs seem to surround him. So where he goes, like the orbs fly at him. And I saw one that was a flashing bright white, but it was doing like oscillations towards him. It was amazing. So as we're, getting the veils peeled back, our vision, we're seeing and peeking into these other realms. And I have high hopes for 2020, because perfect vision is 2020. But every year more people are waking up, but they still, even people that wake up, we go back to the 10 virgins, and they all slumbered and slept, and then the call went out, and the 5 were wise and the 5 were foolish. They just expected, since the other 5 were such service to others, that they would give them their oil, and at that time it was too late. So they had to go to the realm where everybody was the same way, and learn from there. You end up getting surrounded by people that are just like you, that will take advantage of your kindness, or I'm sorry, that's not what I meant. That will, if you're a kind, gentle, giving person, you're going to be surrounded by kind, gentle, giving people. If you are in service to self or self-centered, you'll be surrounded by people that are all self-centered. And right now, it's kind of a mixed batch. We're here together until the great separation comes. And you just got to think about that. That's why it's so important to choose wisely on what you are doing with your life. Is there anything that you have not forgiven people for? Are you holding judgments on people that are that you haven't really done an introspection on yourself to see where you could be in the wrong also? And I'm not saying that it's 100% one person's fault or the other. I say we all need to take responsibility for our own actions and how they affect other people. And then we evolve from there. So, yeah. You're lurking. Nice. Hey, Dad, how are you? So it's okay to call you Mike? Okay. Because I'm sure you probably hear me going, Ma. And then I catch myself, and then I say, oh, my sky's 5D. So, yeah, it's easier to just call you Mike because, I actually have a brother named Mike. And so calling you Mike, and you are my brother, so it's easy. It's very easy. So, yeah. Tonight I'm wearing a pendant. Well, my daughter gave me this one with the heart with the little pearl in it. And then this crystal was handmade and with all the intentions and everything filled by Liera. I don't know. I miss her so much. I don't know where she's been, but she made this by hand along with the angel bracelet. Hope you can see it. And then I've got my chakra alignments always on. Keep myself in balance. Ooh. And when you're in balance, you feel much better. I get good night's sleep, and then I'm full of energy. I just have my days and nights mixed up because my husband works nights. I like to spend a little time with him, so I've got my days and nights mixed up. But when he gets off he works on Friday. When he gets off on Saturday, he gets really super tired and he plays catch up. And he actually just woke up a few minutes ago. So if you're hearing him in the background a little bit, that's my man. He's out here, and I didn't have any moderators, and I heard him, and that was when the clip was playing. I'm like, oh, good, you can moderate. But now I got lots of moderators in here. Awesome sauce. And I don't feel the need to change my moderators. My moderators do a bang-up job. They take care of business. And they don't try to hurt the channel in any way, and they don't block people. They don't, they don't hurt anybody. Because that's the last thing that we want, is for anybody to be treated unfairly or disrespectful. We want to treat others as we want to be treated. So as long as they're being respectful, we respect. Because this is all about sharing. Uh-oh. I lost you guys. Hang on. Okay, I'm back. I can see the chat again. I don't know why it keeps popping up that other page. Let me see if my stream health is good. Everything coming through okay, you guys? Still all 5x5? Yeah, it says it's healthy. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I can't figure out what it is, but when you no longer dream, oh my gosh, it's doing it again. Stop it. When you no longer dream, but you channel while you sleep, channel is transferring something like someone brought it up to me. Yeah, and that's where you can get influenced also, because remember, a third fell. So, you can be walking this out as a sovereign, free, you have freedom of choice here, sovereign being, and then you can be influenced into your thoughts. And it can come as a dream, but realize this, when you're in that dream state, you can recognize it because you'll be able to feel it. Where is this information coming from? But yes, that's also in scripture. God sews up the instructions in you while you sleep. So, as you're going along this path, your dreams, you can have precog dreams or prophetic dreams, but you have to be able to discern the difference. You don't want to be putting dreams out there, setting dates or saying some kind of major catastrophe or anything if it's not something that is energetically correct. You gotta check everything, whether it is in your dream state, you're still sovereign, or in your waking state, you're still sovereign. So, but it's a process. It's a learning and growing, and everything takes time. So don't push yourself into thinking you need to know everything right now. Because if you skip steps like that clip was just talking about, people will make themselves, they will manifest physical sickness on themselves. A lot of people call them ascension symptoms. They're trying to skip steps to go to higher levels without going through the complete process, which I think that was on the part 16 share, where it talks about you go through, there's 7 levels of 7, and then the 7 is 7, and then the 7 is 7. It's an infinite amount. So that refining process is going on, but we do not want to skip steps, because then that's when we make mistakes and could be putting out information that will lose the trust of people, because they won't see it as you as of getting valid information, when actually you did get that information in a dream, but you got it from, and that's the purpose of it, for you to share it, and then for people to walk away from you, even though you are on that narrow path, you are on the right path, and you're going in the right direction, and 99.9% of what you have put out is complete truth. You see the divine in everybody. You're a pure heart. You're completely pure with your intentions, and then they give you one of those, and it befuddles you. You share it. It doesn't come to pass, and everyone's like pointing their finger at you. False prophet, and they walk away. And that's something we need to think about. People make mistakes, and if they're not quite discerning, and it's coming to you in a dream like that, it's really much more difficult in a dream to discern, especially when everything else has come to pass on ones that aren't. I mean, when we had that Donald Trump dream, we laughed. So we wrote it down because we thought there's just no freaking way. But he's president, so it is what it is. But discernment of your dreams. Always test the spirits. Josie, oh, I love you. I love John Benny's song about you too, or that it was dedicated to you. So beautiful. We're coming up on the hour. The links are down below if we want to do phone calls and all that stuff. I'll do more on DLive. I want to kind of get acquainted with that software, because who knows what's going to happen here. And they are so constraining on what we're able to share with one another. It's like, what? You know, they've made themselves, you know, the judge, jury, and prosecutor, defense, whatever, and just they're putting the squeeze on us. So there's other places that we can go that when you register, you'll see the difference in the policies. There's more freedom there. We don't have to sit there and watch everything we say and worry about this COPA thing. And the COPA thing, they missed, even by COPA compliance, they missed a section, which is PG-13. And they don't give us that option. That option is not there. It's either for adults or, you know, or it's for children. And they'll be the ones that decide if it's for children or if it's for adults. And so if you've mislabeled your content and said it's for adults, you know, they will judge you. That's not right. That's just not right. I was on my post earlier today. I was talking about your beautiful painting and the bookmark that you gave me at ECETI. That was one thing about all of us meeting up there, is pretty much everybody brought gifts. We all exchanged gifts with one another. We broke the pink quartz, and everybody got a chunk of that. And I brought like goodies, like everybody wants a snack. Everybody loves Snickers bars and Skittles and M&Ms and all that. So I brought all that kind of stuff, and then everybody got a piece of the large crystal that we broke, and everybody got a chunk of that. And Jose brought art, and so she had pieces of art. Could probably go get it. Could probably show it to you real quick. And bookmarkers that she gave to everybody. Shane gave us these little bags with 2 crystals in it. Eileen gave out tiger's eye crystals. It was just like nobody knew how many people would be there, but we all had enough for everybody that came. And there was a lot of people. I think it was more than what Shane expected. And it was wonderful meeting people in person. It just really was. And that tiger's eye that Eileen gave me, man, that thing is just powerful. It's got lots of energy in there. I don't know if it's because I keep refilling it or what. You know, all of my my crystals and everything are just really highly energized. And you know, that is also in scripture, that people touch something and would send it to them, and people would get healed from it. So, you know, I don't knock the teachings of anybody's belief structure. Believe how you want. That's part of your sovereignty. But I choose for myself that I'm going to follow what is going on with this spiritual, you know, evolution or ascension and understanding, purifying the heart, and all of the things that go along with it. And along the way, I've met some of the most beautiful, amazing people in person. In person. It's just amazing. So, anyways. Yes. The big bag of Snickers, and then I put that box that wasn't even opened out on the picnic table. And this is how honest people were at the campground. It wasn't open, so I opened it after I put it up there. Nobody was taking them, so then I opened it and I left it there. Nobody was taking them. So then we found a Sharpie or a pen, or I can't remember what I used, and wrote free. Please take one. And then finally people started taking them. But nobody touched anybody else's belongings. Nobody took anything that was I mean, it was just so, you could leave anything out and it wouldn't be touched. It would be, so I did. I had to write. I literally had to write on the lid of the box, free, take one. And then they disappeared really quickly after that. But it was beautiful up there. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed everybody I got to meet. I enjoyed the sky watching. I enjoyed the demonstrations and the exercises that James taught us. I enjoyed being there for the, well, I guess it was a recorded, the recorded 8 at 8 meditation. I mean, it was wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful. Tony Taylor showed up there for, she wasn't there for very long. And that she showed up around the time everybody was congregated in the community hall. And I saw her, so I ran over, and then she let me know she wasn't going to be there for very long and wanted me to point her in the direction on where, because that place, it keeps going and going. It's like you can go from you almost feel like you're in a field, but then you walk around the corner and now you're in like a forest with a river and cabins and fresh fruit on these fruit trees, and they had you could pick the fruit off of the trees and eat it. They didn't care. It was just beautiful. And my gosh, wasn't that fruit really, really good? Oh man, I wish I would have taken some. And I'm not a big apple eater. But these were really sweet, and like the texture of them was a little different. They almost had like a pear texture, but not quite. They were definitely apples, but they were super, super good. Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh, so it's midday for you. Yeah, it was the perfect location in the perfect time. Lionsgate 8/8. Yes, a lot going on. That was an active time. And, Mike, being a sky watcher, I'm sure you were in heaven watching all that activity at night. And that equipment that James has is just amazing. That, he's sitting there watching things with night vision on, so he's seeing it and then able to take this laser and circle it so we know where to look to see. And then, wow, there it would go. Or whatever was going on in that mountain, he could almost gauge the time when they were going to start communicating. And it was definitely, it was a phenomena. And then you felt like when you got in there, that you were in one huge vortex. But in that vortex were several other vortexes, smaller vortexes, but more potent. It's hard to describe it. The best thing I can say is go there for yourself and check it out, because that's the best way to find out, is to experience it. Because, it's hard to explain the phenomena that we experienced. The photos that we actually were able to capture, it was just amazing. It was amazing. Preliminary. Hi. Brenda. I'll do one channel shout out, and so I'm a little over an hour. Okay, participants, if you want your name shouted out, you need to say something. I've got Brenda Mitchell, Dead GPK, Jose, My Skies 5D, Preliminal, Quartz Quantum, and Yoinich. And I know there's more of you guys in here than that. It's just I just pulled up the participation list. The list. Did I say your name, Brenda? No. And Brenda Mitchell. Okay. If I did, I said it twice. Or actually, that would be 3 times. Oh gosh. It's late, but it's actually, it would be more around like 9 or 10 a.m. for me, since I woke up at 11. Well, no, that would make it 11, 6 hours. So if I got up at 8, it would be about 2 in the afternoon for me. Yeah. Okay. Follow over to DLive. if I'm going to go live on DLive, it'll be at about 30 minutes, and we'll take some phone calls, and that'll give you time to register and find my channel. I did put both links in the description, so if you need to, just come back to this one and click, and it'll take you back over to where my link is. I think I need like 200 subscribers or something. I think there's a difference between followers and subscribers. I'm not really sure. I'm very new over there. So I noticed that several channels have are working over there with that also, but have a lot of followers. But followers are fine too, because you can still when you log into your account, when you're following someone, you can tell if they're live or not, or if they've got new postings and things like that. I'm not sure what the difference is between a subscriber and a follower yet, but I'll learn as I go. Yes, and you guys, on that note, always share what you know, and always listen so we can grow. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys over there. Depends on what the hubby's doing, since he just got up. And peace. I love you. I love it when John Vinny does this. I'm stealing it, John Vinny. And also, if you haven't, check out his channel. He puts out amazing new songs every day. Yes. Peace.